Hello again. This time I'm not going to talk about Tottenham, but rather about Jack Charlton and the Ireland team during his time as their manager. I remember going to his first game in charge, a friendly against Wales in Lansdowne Road in 1986. We lost 1-0, and while that wasn't the best of starts, it was the start of a new era. Shortly afterwards, the qualifying campaign for the Euro 88 Championship started. I went to all the home games. We used to get off school early in order to go, so you'd have to go, wouldn't you? I remember standing on the Havelock Square End terrace for most of them. Played Belgium, Bulgaria, Scotland, Luxembourg, I think. And we did okay, but it didn't look like we were going to qualify. But Scotland did us a favour, beating Bulgaria in Bulgaria, and we got through. So, yeah, Jack became a national hero. We eventually reached our first major finals, and that's when the fun started. Because our first game was against England, the old enemy. And of course, Jack Charlton was a member of England's 1966 World Cup winning team. A tough, no-nonsense centre-half, which of course reflected in his style of management as well. We put them under pressure. That was his mantra. Gave the opposition no time in the ball. Got the ball up front as quick as possible, win the knockdown, and, as I said, put them under pressure. I remember watching that England game in Santry Stadium in the middle of a track meet. They stopped the Dublin Championships, I think it was, for a couple of hours so we could watch the match in some room or shed or something underneath the main terrace in Santry. It was jammered. We were like sardines in there, watching a little telly up on a shelf. But it didn't matter. The place went nuts when Ray Houghton put the goal in. And despite playing what was a very, very good England team with some fantastic players, including Tottenham's own Glenn Hoddle, who may actually have moved on at that stage, and Chris Waddle was there at the time. And I think Chris Hughton and Tony Galvin might still have been in the Irish setup at that stage, also Tottenham players. But we said I wouldn't talk about Tottenham. But anyway, we held out. Won the game 1-0. And from then on, I think Jack was a legend. The buzz was something we had never experienced before as Irish football fans. It was unimaginable. Go to a major championships, to beat England, and be confident of getting out of the group. And we went into the next game. Ronnie Whelan scored a great goal, even though he says he shinned it. It was still a great goal if anyone cares to go back and look at it. We ended up drawing 1-1 against Russia in that game and set us up for the last game with a chance to go through to the next round. But we came up short against a fantastic Dutch team who went on to win the championship with that goal from Marco van Basten. But it was still a great tournament, and we can be very proud of it. And that was just the start, because we went through the qualifying group for Italia 90 and got through our first World Cup. And lo and behold, first game against the old enemy again, England. This time it was a 1-1 draw. We went 1-0 down in the first half, and Kevin Sheedy scored the equaliser in the second half. And that set us up for a game against Egypt. And I can't remember the score or even the result. But I do know that we did enough. We just had to get a draw, I believe, against the Dutch in the last round to get through, which we did. I watched the game on a ferry going to Glastonbury. I was in the middle of my rebellious years at the time. And I missed some of the crack in Dublin at the time, but what was arranged beforehand was arranged beforehand. What I do regret was not seeing the next game against Romania, the famous game where Ireland went through in the penalty shootout, thanks to heroics from Packy Bonner and Dave O'Leary. I thought I had planned to see the game in the train station in Birmingham. Got to the pub, ready to watch it, but we got the kickoff time wrong. Back in those days, we all didn't have computers in our pocket to check the time. Different days. But the main thing was we got to that quarter final against the host Italy in the Olympic Stadium in Rome. Who would have thought it? Just cannot overemphasize how big a deal this was to the Irish football community. It was just the stuff that dreams are made of. And we gave a great account of ourselves, but unfortunately came up a bit short, losing 1-0 to Italy and a goal by Toto Schillaci. The team were welcomed back after the game like heroes. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just remember the general buzz, the flags, buntings, shorts, just the electric atmosphere in the place. There's reminiscing with parents about their experience going to the CIE club in Colcut and Ballyfermot, and about the crazy scenes up there for those games, that Romania game in particular. I saw footage there on YouTube at the Kestrel pub in Walkinstown of just the plain nuttiness of the times. And I'm sure that was echoed all over the country. And whilst we didn't qualify for the next European Championships in 92, we did get to the World Cup in 94. And to me, that was the pinnacle of the Charlton years. Even though we didn't do quite as well in the tournament, the buzz was electric. I remember cycling home from work from Tala to Inchicore on the night of one of the games, and the whole way Irish flags on outside all the houses, kids in the street cheering, kicking the ball around. It was just fantastic. The buzz, cars honking the horns, flags out the window. Yeah, it was just brilliant. And my favourite memory of those times and of those games when Jack was manager was the first game of that tournament in 94, when we got our chance to get revenge on the Italians, playing them in Joint Stadium in New Jersey in the first game. And we went 1-0 up with another goal from that man Ray Houghton, and we were put under serious pressure by the Italians, who had a good team and who eventually went on to lose the final on penalties. But we held out and we beat them, which made up to some degree for the game 4 years ago. The tension got so bad in the second half that my old man had to get up and go for a walk. He couldn't hack it. But he got back for the end of the game and we did it. Yeah, it was fantastic stuff. And the buzz and anticipation after that. Quarterfinals, the tournament before, we beat the Italians, who are hotly fancy with players like Baggio and his silly little ponytail. Yeah, we thought we were going to do it. Then we played Mexico down in Orlando. I think the heat got to us. They were obviously better suited for us. Time of day, I believe, if I recall correctly, for TV reasons for Europe, the game was played at midday in Orlando in July. And it was like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. And the boys must have melted. Fair play to them. The Mexicans went 2-0 up, but we pulled one back, a goal from John Aldridge, and didn't quite do it. But we still had a chance to go through to the knockout stage with our last game in the group against Norway, back up in Joint Stadium, I think, up north again anyway. And it was a 1-1 draw, or a 1-1 or a 0-0 draw, I can't remember, but we got through anyway and set up another game against the Dutch, which unfortunately this time we lost 2-0. But I keep saying, They were great times. It was a great Irish team as well. John Aldridge, Ray Houghton, Roy Keane, and Packy Bonner. The one I remember most, Paul McGrath, who played for my local League of Ireland team, St. Patrick's Athletic. He was a goal-scoring midfielder then. I used to go and watch them on a Sunday. And he went to Manchester United and made it big and was Ireland's best player. He held that defence together. He was a Rolls Royce of a player. Yeah, just fantastic. Don't think we'll ever see another player in a green shirt like him. And after that, things didn't quite go so well. We didn't qualify for the next European Championships, nor the next World Cup in France in 1998. And somewhere along the way, we parted ways with Jack Charlton. But we'll always have those memories, and he was some character. The stories about bringing that team to the Chippers on the Nace Road, Harry Ramsden's, I think it was called, before the game for fish and chips. The type of thing that wouldn't go on now with all the sports science that's in the game. Every last calorie that's counted, everything the players eat. Nothing like that the old days. And would they hit the gargle as well? There's plenty of stories about what went on after the games. And of course, the game changed then, and maybe another time we'll talk about the World Cup in 2002 and what happened then. But for now, we'll remember Jack. A top player for Leeds United, where he played his whole career, for England, and he managed at club level at Newcastle, as Sheffield Wednesday. I'm not sure who else. I think he might have been at another club or two, and most importantly for Ireland. So here's to Jack, top man, top manager, and top player. Until next time.